Hi there, it's Linda Kaye. Welcome to another really great episode, and welcome to season 3 of Money Talk. This season, we've been exploring stories that reveal our resilience. Well, what does resilience look like to you? I've often described it and compared it to things that get tested over and over and over and over again. And once they lose their resilience, they get replaced. But that's not us with human life. We don't replace it like that, but we lose some functionalities, don't we? It reveals what our resistance and our resilience that has come together actually looks like. Not in the moments when life is really easy, when it's predictable, when it goes as planned, everything that goes as planned, but the moments that carve us open and force us to decide who we're going to be next. As we end this year, 2025, we've only got a few weeks left. I'm reminded of the exciting time of the season of the lights, which is Hanukkah, which comes and starts this weekend. And I can tell you that when I lost my home, I learned firsthand that adversity has a way of stripping your life down, right down to the essentials. And isn't that about the year that we're in? We are in, as the Chinese would like to say, the year of the snake. And what do snakes do? They shed. So does my dog, but not like a snake where you shed your entire skin. And as we get ready to start up this new year, as we get ready to step into the year of the horse, that's my year. And I want you to embrace it. Yeah, I was born in the year of the horse, which should give you some idea, like every 12 years, this Chinese cycle starts all over again. It's about acceleration. You begin to understand what truly matters, and you start seeing strength in places that you never expected to find it. Some people fold under that kind of pressure, but others, we choose that we're going to use, like the fire I'm using to forge a different life, a different forward look, a different everything about it. As I shed this year, look forward to this next year, I'm using that fire to forge my way forward, to expand, not just to be resilient, but to expand, because in expansion, there's opportunity. Our guest today is a man who's been shaped by those defining moments. As a young Marine, he faced profound loss, losing 6 of his closest friends in service. And you know you're close in service if you're seeing them fall right next to you. That kind of experience rearranges your entire outlook and your understanding of your life. It changes what you value, what you fight for, and what you refuse to take for granted. He built his path with grit, discipline, and necessity. And life didn't stop testing him. Don't you wish it would? I know, even at this point in my life, I think, am I still being tested? Why am I being tested? Because when you are tested, you find your strength. Think about your muscles. I learned recently while I'm training for something that you tear a muscle, it means you're going to heal it and it's going to come back stronger. You've got to tear it. The kind of experience arranges not only your life and your outlook, but in 2018, when his early business collapsed, he didn't walk away. He rebuilt. A single Airbnb listing became the seed that grew into multiple investment properties and eventually the creation of FoolProof FSBO. Now, some people in the business call it FSBO, and that really kind of irritates a lot of other people, like real estate people that take this and don't take it for granted. They take it for, you got to be kidding. You'd want to sell your own for sale by owner. A mission-driven company that's centered on transparency and empowerment. Now, while his journey has been marked by personal and professional trials, one of the most defining roles came to him and that he carries proudly as a father. When his daughter faced a life-threatening medical event, he did what he has always done. He made the hard choice, stood strong, and fought for the outcome that mattered most. Her survival is a chapter in his story that reinforces his deepest truth. Life is precious, and every moment counts. I just want you to pause on that and reflect on that as you light a candle or for whatever it is that you're doing. And I want you to think about who can use this story, who who has the most opportunity to find that story within them. And I want you to reach out to them and spend that time with them. And Karen, I can't get my mouse to advance, and it's not letting me do anything. So I'm going to ask you to pull up our introduction when I count it down. I have two things that I want you to do right now. One of them is to share this, share it, like it, subscribe to this channel, because this is all about building back better. And as 2026 arrives, I want you to look forward to what we're going to be doing in the year ahead. And second, stay tuned, because we'll be right back.
I can show you how to be strong. Come on, follow me. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up, look up, look up, look up.
I got something to give. I have something to say. You know you got something to do.
Welcome to the stage, Linda Kaye.
And we are back. Well, before I introduce our guest, I want you to know that it isn't just about endurance. It's about purpose. You know, when you have things to do and you have important things to do, it's easy for us to slack off. It's easy for us to not challenge ourselves to step into it and step into our future, step into our greatness. So it really, you hear it all the time. What's your why? Why would you want something? Why do you want to do something? And that's called purpose. And human beings are the only animal on the earth that have that drive to have purpose. It's about choosing integrity in an industry full of gray areas, choosing family in moments of fear, and choosing to rebuild when life hands you rubble. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Tim Streets. Tim, welcome.
Linda, thank you so much. It's just I'm kind of humbled to be here. I know your story, and it's breathtaking. You've gone through so much, and I really appreciate you. Even I feel a little bit embarrassed to talk about my problems when I know what you've gone through, because they don't even. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to. I've not lost everything. I've not been there. I've lost some things, but I'm really proud of you for being what you are and doing what you're doing. And thanks to you and your audience for even putting up with me here for a little bit. I really.
Well, thank you for saying that. I can tell you that it is the first time I have ever lost everything to a fire, but I'm not new to loss, nor are you. But when you have lost something, or you've lost everything, I lost everything back in, back in the 1990s, 92, 93. And I literally I lost my house, I lost my job, I lost my business, I lost my partnership, I lost my car, and I even lost my dog. And it has a way of stripping away the things that are really most important to you, doesn't it?
Sure. Oh my gosh.
And I also realized that, hey, it was just stuff. Now, I had 28 years of building stuff. Don't get me wrong, my stuff was nice to have, but when I think about what I'm looking at today, what I'm doing today, I really felt it was important for me to talk about loss, and then to have people back on the show that have had tremendous loss, like yourself, and got back up. You said, no, that fire took my house, but it didn't take me. I could come back, and I want to come back better and stronger. I don't want the same thing. I mean, I was selling the house when it burned down. Okay, so life and usefulness for it had already expanded. I'd already lived my life through it. I'd already raised my daughter. I'd already had a long almost 3 decades in that house. I loved that house. But there are things that we love that we lose, and we have to let go, and we have to find a way to be able, again, to talk about it for sure. But more importantly, I don't know what it would be like to be working and working side by side with somebody and have them disappear right in front of you from a violent episodes, such as your friends that you lost during the service. Tell me how you made the transition from going and being in the service and being in the military. You look like a very young man, so it was probably a very early decision that you made for yourself. Talk to me about how you made that transition into business, because I think a lot of veterans have a very big challenge with it and a very difficult time with it.
Well, thank you. They do. And I certainly, I don't want to quibble here, but the reality is those guys that I lost, every single one of them were we have this weird habit as humans where we like to kind of put those we lose on a pedestal as if they were like, just the most spectacular men ever.
But isn't that natural? Isn't that, I think because it's the essence of spirit, all of a sudden it's accelerated so forward so quickly, and then they're gone like that. So that energy that's left is like a vapor trail, right? So I don't think it's unusual.
No, and the weird thing is it's only with the benefit of hindsight where you can almost, because you're asking yourself why. Now, and just so for full transparency, this didn't happen in front of my eyes. This happened. I wasn't with them when they crashed. It was an aircraft crash. And it was but it was the airplane I had flown on 1 million times. It was the same crew I'd flown with 1 million times. It should have been me. And that's what I kept telling myself
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm hearing a little bit of survival guilt.
Oh, big time. Oh, I don't have that as bad anymore, but I was carrying that with me for a good solid 20 years.
It should have been me. Why wasn't it me? That's an interesting perspective, Tim, because many people, when something happens, go, why me? Why did it happen to me? Yours is why not me, right? And what a contrast. This is fascinating. Go on.
Well, when I tell you that they were all every single one of them better than me. And, and that at the time, that's what was so hard to process, because here I was, I was some 21-year-old punk who I drank as much as I could. I partied as much as I could. I didn't have a family. And these men, they had families. They had a relationship with God. They were in the community. Like, these were literally amazing men. And for some reason, and I was really mad with God at first when he let them go and he didn't take me, because I felt pretty worthless at that point in my life. Sure, I could do a job. Sure, I could look out for my friends, but I really was a little bit upset. And when I look back, like I said, now with the benefit of hindsight, and I see what my purpose was, I'm a dad to the most beautiful girls in the world. And we've gone through things as a family that I don't think they would be where they are today if I wasn't somehow spared to be them. So is it fair? Absolutely not. Did those people have families? They did. But for the first time in a long time, I can tell people, like, I'm sad it was them, but I'm glad it wasn't me.
Well, look what you have to live for. Look at the purpose that you have now. Mm-hmm. Everything that you did prepared you for what you're doing now. Everything. I think about your first daughter, Allie, that was born with congenital scoliosis. Can you explain what that is and how did it show up? I know she was very young, maybe 1.5 years old. What happened?
Yep. So she was she's just a perfect kid, and she's just amazing today, to this day. But yeah, she had congenital scoliosis and a tethered spinal cord. So what that meant was she had an extra half of a vertebrae at the base of her spine, which caused a curvature. And then her spinal cord, in most people, it floats freely in a channel in your spinal cord. There's like a little channel where your spinal cord floats. Hers somehow was tethered to her tailbone. So as an infant, it was okay. But as she grew, it would cause that spinal cord to stretch and have damage. And she'd have been in a wheelchair. She would have not had, bladder control, things like that. And she would have probably not made it past her early teens.
Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah. So you make the obvious choice is, we got to get this fixed. Where do you go?
So, my wife at the time, Allie's mother, was researching, doctors, neurologists we could take her to. This is when we lived back in Detroit. Right now we're down here in Florida, but at the time in Detroit, the pickings for this kind of a thing were somewhat limited.
Sure.
And so there was one guy who was almost excited. He was like gleeful at the prospect of operating on my daughter because,
Right.
yeah. And, he's saying, well, she's going to be in a body cast for 6 months. And I'm thinking I'm like a hyperactive nutcase. Like there's no way I could be in a body cast. So I just, with the empathy I had for my little girl, it killed me.
Right.
So, Amy did some research and found out that the world's leading surgeon in the entire world was down in Miami Children's Hospital. So that day I literally just built our dream house that we were going to live in for the rest of our lives. I packed up my stuff. I left in the car, drove down to Miami, found us a rental. We sold everything, moved in there. And the best part was Allie went through her surgery, was up and walking the next day, just a small brace she wore, no body cast. I mean, it miracle upon miracle. It was amazing.
Oh, that's just incredible. That is, okay, that's a Hallmark story right there. And I can tell you, I'm watching lots of Hallmarks. This is my favorite time of year, and I binge on Hallmark stories because they are such feel-good stories. But what an amazing, miraculous story. I think that you also have a recent challenge with Allie. I know that you've got 4 children, 4 daughters. This isn't the first challenge Allie has. How old is Allie now?
So Allie's now 19, and she's just wonderful. She was at she was a track athlete and a cross country athlete, and she was at one of her last track meets, and some well-meaning knucklehead kid like we've all been was throwing a shot put where he shouldn't have, and ended up hitting Allie in the head. And so my younger daughter, Olivia, calls me, and she's crying on the phone with me. And immediately my heart rate goes up because when you get those calls, it's like everything just drops out from underneath.
My girl.
Yeah.
You drop everything.
So Allie just said, Olivia said, I've been hit in the head. You need to get up here quick. So boy, I can't even imagine how many people hate my guts for the way I was driving that day. I got up to the high school in about 3 minutes flat. I got there just in time to see the firemen putting her on the board, the back.
Oh,
board.
that is just that is like a panic now. I would be in a state of panic. I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
It was rough. And well, Linda, I'll tell you the worst part. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is a school. It's an abundance of caution. They're just being over safe, right? Until I got there and I saw the blood and I saw the firemen, and then they said that they were going to airlift her.
Oh my God. So now this is every parent's worst nightmare, absolute worst nightmare. From somebody driving outrageously through a neighborhood 70 miles an hour. I heard a story about that this morning. And a knucklehead that is just doing something, trying to show his buddies how to throw something, and the unintended consequences that come out of this. Now, your daughter's 19, so we know she survived, but talk to me about what this process of recovery was. Okay, again, because this is another miraculous recovery.
So if we ever needed proof of miracles in my family, we've had our share. And that was one of the things with Allie is, I can't really put into words just how incredible this little girl is. And of course, every parent says that about their child, but I mean, there's just something special about my daughters. All 4 of them are just incredible. But since we're talking about Allie and what she went through, I mean, I'll tell you, this broke my heart. And gosh, this I didn't know this interview. I'm just going to be a blubbering idiot this entire video.
This is our Hallmark moment. Let's go there.
But I walk in. So I tried to race the helicopter to the hospital. It won. But I came close. But we watched her get loaded into the helicopter, and that was about the lowest I've ever been in my life.
I can't imagine.
And, yeah. So we walk in. We get into the emergency room. I come running in. And I see Allie, and the first thing she says to me, is she says, "Dad, please tell Logan this isn't his fault." The first thing she was worried about.
The guy that hurt her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
She wasn't mad at him. She wasn't wondering what was happening to her. She had no idea if she was going to live or die. Nobody knew anything. It was amazing. So like seeing,
I usually am not ever at a loss for words, but I am at a loss for words right now. I
yeah,
am
an
just
18-year-old girl.
amazed.
Yeah,
This is
she's got a spiritual maturity about her that I probably would never get in 200 years. And for her to be so young and yet so wise, and just talking about how she was burdened at that point with what was going through this other boy's head, and it broke my heart.
more
I said,
concerned
wow.
for others than they are for themselves. It's just it's astounding. And she obviously has a TEDx talk out of this one. I think she's probably thinking, I better wait a while and see what else happens.
Yeah. We definitely don't want to tempt fate, but the real hero of the story here is her little sister. Her little sister, I heard her on the phone, and she said when this happened, everybody just froze like deer in the headlights.
Right.
And if it wasn't for Olivia, I mean, I hear Olivia, like she gets like drill instructor mad at everybody. Call 911. You get it done. Like she starts ordering people around, and thank God for her, because she said they were all just sitting watching. And it was,
that just gives me chills. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that girl knew it. And how old was she at the time that this happened?
So Olivia was only 14 when all this happened. And,
thank God for the head on her shoulders.
Yes.
Look,
yeah.
They say the apple doesn't fall far from the trees. I'm beginning to wonder what those, what those drilling exercises were all about. You've got one in track, you've got one watching, you've got, so you clearly are a pack and a power of energy. And raising two would be enough. My daughter just had identical twin girls, but raising 4 girls, oh yeah, Dad, you are surrounded. You just gave it up. You said, no, I got to show the manpower here, right?
Linda, even the dog is a girl in this. I'm so outnumbered. It's 5 versus 1 all the time. I hide out in my office a lot. This is why, I doors shut.
Oh my God.
I'm good in here.
That's hilarious. All right. Now we're going to talk about a little bit of business, because while we have family issues, we also intertwine this with some business. You go, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to go with this. And yet by 2018, you had a couple of them that started and every single one of them collapsed. And this is what I want our viewers to understand. It isn't that your business burned to the ground. It's that you get back up and you try something different. Now, many people, I think, have a habit of maybe the restless syndrome, but I'm going to call it, I like to call it happy ears, because they go, oh, that's better over there. Oh, I like that one better. Oh, and I'm going to just keep trying. And I'm just going to keep building. I'm around a lot of entrepreneurs all the time. And, they have the shiny object syndrome where, if I just do this one more thing and put it in this, and they never really launch. You launched, and I think that's so important to understand and applaud yourself and go, okay, good job. It didn't work, so I'm going to try something else. That didn't work. I'm going to keep trying until something really locks in and rolls. Tell me how you discovered the Airbnb. Not that you discovered Airbnb, because everybody that had a pulse was doing Airbnb by 2018, 19.
Yeah.
But did you do this going into COVID as well?
I did. So of course, we when it rains, it pours. So fast forward to that point, it had made sense for us to seek a divorce at the time. So my ex-wife and I, Allie and Olivia's mom, we got a divorce. And so I basically paid her, I bought her out of the house. And so now I have this gorgeous house. It's way too big for me and the girls. I don't know what to do with it. It's super expensive. I don't have the money to pay for it. So it was just sort of a last ditch effort. I'm like, man, I would love to give this house to my kids one day. How can I preserve it? So of course, renting came to mind. And then I learned about short-term rentals. And so what we did is I bought an RV. We parked it on the side property where nobody could see it. I lived on my property rent-free. And then I put the house on the short-term rental market. And it just did so well. It did very well. My kids loved it. I was teaching them because I really want to teach my daughters that you don't have to be a wage slave for the rest of your life. You can start your own business. You can be your own boss. It's going to be ruthless. It's going to be very difficult. And I wanted them to see all the times I would make mistakes, all the times I would screw up, because what I've tried to teach them is making mistakes is not something to be avoided. It's in fact, I've learned so much more from my mistakes than I have my successes. And I think that's normal for most people.
It is, because I mean, it's like, I can give you an example of this because this just happened to me last week. I was talking to a group of realtors, and I always start out with, a stack of cash. Who likes money, right? Everybody goes, oh, I like money. And I tried to, and I flipped it and I flashed it. And if somebody was flashing a couple $100 bills in front of you and said, do you like money? What would you do? Stare at it?
It depends on how many armed guards around. I might come make a play for it, but no.
That's what you do. And that's my point, is that you take action. But isn't it like, anytime somebody gives you something, if I gave you $100, you might think, okay, well, that's all right. But if that $100 was yours and I tried to take it away from you, you'd wrestle me down for it. So I get that point. Carry on. This is very interesting. I love where this conversation is going.
Oh, I'm so glad. So we ended up finding a lot of success there. Enough that I thought, well, shucks, I really could probably do this again and again. So I started looking for other investment properties. The thing I was running into is I was doing a lot of due diligence, finding, these diamonds in the rough. And then I would go approach the seller and they would tell me to come back with an agent. And so then I would try to work with a real estate agent. And, to this, I'm a licensed agent. My wife is a licensed agent. Some of my best friends are. So I hope people don't think I'm painting with a broad brush here, but the ones that I got hooked up with did not do a great job.
I hear that. I hear this more often than not. I hear, you're really good at what you do, Linda. But most agents really are not good agents. They either don't know how to put a transaction together, how to talk through a transaction, how to advise you, how to do any of the things that they should be able to do. And I think that because the barrier to entry is so low, all you got to do is study for a test and take it. I mean, if you're good at taking tests, you can guess through most of it. And, you can make a whole lot of mistakes and still pass that exam. And now you have a license. So I understand that perspective.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I got kind of fed up with by the time I had the third deal fall through. The problem is, when I was, my background, I was in startups, and these were shoestring startups. So me and my friends are starting these scrappy little tech companies in our basements in Michigan. And, sometimes we found ourselves in procurement departments competing against people like, Amazon and Verizon, like Fortune 50 companies. And sometimes we're winning. So I had to learn so fast and so hard. It was so crucial because it was commission only. There was no salary. So it was either perform or get out. And so I really learned.
And you get to start over every single month at zero.
Yeah. What about us, right? So, yeah, I think I might have been being a little bit unfair too with my expectations of the buyer's agent. So at the end I said, you know what? I'm so fed up with buyer's agents, I'm going to become one. So I took my exam over a weekend, like you said, and I realized, to me, that was kind of the cheat code. I could now go put my own deals together. I could contribute my commissions into the deal. I mean, it was wonderful. So I ended up acquiring another property, and then subsequently
back up, because you're saying something really important. I don't want to gloss over it. Sure. You could decide in your commission to either roll it into something. You could decide what to do with it. Did you become a broker, or did you hang your license someplace?
I hung my license with an incredible lady she really helped me understand how the business worked, and she was amazing. But to answer your question, yes, one of the greatest kind of secrets that I could pass on to anybody that went down a path like this, it's nice because you're investing pre-tax money into an appreciating asset. How wonderful is that? That is so rare you get to do that. So by taking my commissions before I receive them in the form of a 1099, I'm actually able as an agent to contribute that into closing costs, into whatever, but it goes into the asset pre-tax. So, let's say your commissions are $10,000. Well, now you're contributing almost $13,000 in real money into this appreciating asset.
So, and assuming that you're not just making a gift, because, and I want to make this distinction, many sellers want you, the agent, to contribute, and it comes right down to the wire. And I have been squeezed so many times. I'm surprised I have any blood left in me. But when it comes right down to the closing, and most of my business has been in commercial real estate, they turn to the agent and go, okay, you're 1% or you're 2%, you're making too much money. They don't say that. Their assumption is you're just going to contribute to their closing of the transaction. To which I've often said, I would be delighted to invest with you. And they're like, oh, you're not investing with me. Well, then you're asking me to make a charitable contribution to your cause.
Right.
Do you have a 501? Do you have a 501c that I can?
Can I get a receipt?
Right. So can I get a receipt? Well, no, it's for my, so you can invest and I can lose. What a win-win situation is that? So you're not talking about that. You're talking about a transaction where you were involved in it. Correct?
Yes.
All right.
And I apologize if that wasn't clear.
No, that's all right. I want viewers to understand how important this is, because you've made a decision not just to invest, but you're investing in your future and your children's future. You're making sure that there's not just enough food on the table. But I always taught my daughter the 3 parts of a dollar. It's to pay yourself first, right? Pay your bills and then tzedakah, right? So you pay yourself, through your 401ks, through your savings, through a future investment. Your tzedakah, of course, is your charity. And then you get to keep the rest. You're like, what? You're talking about 4 parts now. Yeah, we are. So
funny how that works in the real world.
Well, it when you teach that and that becomes your value system, that becomes their value system too. So sure. I can clearly see that, you haven't even talked about what the values are. You don't need to. I can already feel and sense and know the girls that you've raised have those values as well. Now, the Airbnb and the accidental path to the real estate, was that because real estate agents were doing such a bad job?
Well, so Linda, I'm sure probably the majority of your audience is going to laugh themselves to the point of tears. I got involved in the idea of investing in real estate because I was told it was passive and easy. So that's the joke. Yes, of course. I was that guy who believed it. Yes, that was me.
And if you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you.
Man, let me just send you a check right now because I'm the sucker that's going to buy. I truly believe that. Here's the thing. I'm the kind of guy who has to touch the stove. You could tell me it's hot. I'm still going to touch it. And
you're going to touch it to see how hot it is, right? Did I melt my skin or could I take it, right? Is that the military background where you guys are always testing each other, or lived experiences that, you can only experience it to be informed that it is hot?
I think that helps. My dad and my mom tell me I was always stubborn. I had amazing parents, and I don't know how they put up with me, but they tell me I was always stubborn. But, I was also not very good at anything when I was a young kid. I wasn't a great athlete. I was picked last. I wasn't especially getting good grades. I was too busy out, chasing girls and partying, all that stuff some dumb teenage kid does. So when I went in the Marines, I went in there expecting to fail, just expecting to quit. And boy, it was the exact
just the opposite. You got the bug, and so you found something that you really liked. Now, as you continue to do these things, somewhere you morph that. Here are these poor saps, these people that want to sell houses by themselves because they learned that they could do this on their own, and when things get tough. And that is tough to do to do a sale of a house. And there's so many disclosures. And if you're in California, where we are a very litigious state, it is really daunting to think, or to let the other side, have the upper edge. So, and they're told, and we are conditioned as brokers and agents to tell them, don't do this on your own. Don't try this at home. Don't hire a professional. You go the opposite direction. I'm going to bet, and thank goodness you didn't decide to be a firefighter, because you'd be the one running in when everybody's running out.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I always tell people, like, I used to think, and again, this just goes to show you what kind of person I am. I always assume everything's going to be easy. So I thought real estate agents
You
were
walk around
overpaid.
with an easy button to push
Yeah,
throughout your life.
yeah. I thought they were overpaid until I actually did the job, and I was like, holy smokes. So what I tell people who want to sell on their own is, first of all, let me give you a couple quick stats here. Number one, 90% of you fail. That's a very known statistic. And number two, the ones who quote unquote succeed sell for about 11% less than they would have with a full service listing. Now, how can Tim Street then and look himself in the mirror and tell people that this is a smart move? Well, I'll tell you. It's about the same way.
Wait. Yeah. Here's the sales pitch. You can do this on your own. I guarantee you will be successful at it, and you'll make 11% less than if you hired somebody.
That's what a pitch, right? What a terrible.
Where do I sign up at that one?
I know. Well, and so what I tell people, I said, this is analogous to the failure rate. Like, what if you showed up to for your next vacation, you got on the airplane and the pilot never went through training. He just watched a few YouTube videos yesterday. Are you getting on that plane and letting him take you? I'm not.
Nope.
So there's an insanely high failure rate. And the reason is because nobody ever gives these people a blueprint. Nobody sits them down and says, listen, this is actually hard work. Now, if you're willing to do it, I can show you how. But for those people who think they could go to YouTube University, read some blogs, talk to their best friend Carl, who is a broker back in the 70s, and think that they're going to compete today.
Probably using the scripts from the 70s for his cold calls too.
Correct. Yeah. Asking, what are you doing what are you doing later? Want to get some fondue? I don't know, some kind of Ron Burgundy thing, I imagine. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible. So yes, there's a huge failure rate. So what I've done is I've taken this concept of how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. And I've really broken down the process and just given people a step-by-step. But the reality is, people should be honest about their time. People should be honest about their priorities, because I still maintain, unless you're a very, very special kind of person, like my parents. My parents are retired. They love DIY. They cut their own grass. They change their own oil. Like my dad will build a deck for fun. Like, he's incredible. This is the kind of thing that they would sink their teeth into. But
sure,
if you're going through a divorce or a probate, if there's a legal attachment to the house, if there's, if you are a cardiologist and you're making $30,000 a day and you're going to take a week off work to prep a house that maybe saves you $15,000 in commissions, I'm going to tell you to get your head examined. That's probably a bad idea. So it's definitely a very, very niche type of person that I'm talking to here.
All right. So what's the average, if you put a number to it, what number of people want to do their own sale of their house? For
so
sale?
I have so if you ask people who wants to save, thousands of dollars next time to sell, of course, everybody raises their hand.
Sure, of course.
When they
how
find
many
out
want
that
to take 11% less? Those hands go down.
There you go. And that's
right?
where
because the trade-off is you're going to give 4, maybe 5%, 6%, but you can gain 5% more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the fallacy here a lot of people commit is they get so focused on not paying a commission that they take their eye off the net number. It's like, what I'm interested in is not necessarily saving you a commission. It's making sure that you net the most amount of money possible. So if that's going to be with an agent, I'm going to tell you, listen, if you're in the middle of a divorce, you give that agent their percentage points and you laugh all the way to the bank, because that poor soul is going to go through legal hell for you trying to get your house sold. Sure. In certain circumstances, it will make sense, hands down, to use that agent. And where it doesn't make sense, where you are a DIY person, you can follow the steps that I use as a successful agent to help people price accurately, make sure that their home is set up right for inspections, make sure we cover the possibility of an appraisal gap, make sure they're legally covered. Like, all these mistakes that for sale by owners make turn out to be preventable. It's just nobody's taught them how.
Yeah, I think that hits home for a lot of reasons in a lot of ways. But you are now running a business called FoolProof FSBO. How do you make money doing that?
Yeah, great question. So right now I give away all my content for free. So if you're the type of person who loves watching YouTubes, Instagrams, all that stuff, you watch enough of it, you're basically going to be able to assemble my system. I do have a course that I've actually curated. It's $397, and it's 100% guaranteed. If you don't sell, we're going to get your money back. And on top of that, I'll take it on my shoulders to call an agent, negotiate a reduced commission with them, and introduce you to them. So either way, you're going to save thousands, whether you use an agent or go on your own.
That is pretty remarkable. Do a lot of people take you up on it?
You'd be surprised how many people actually have looked at the course. They tell you up front, "Oh, I've got this. I love DIY. I'm doing this all day." And then when they actually look at, I mean, Linda, you can imagine, like if anybody knew what you had to go through on a day-to-day basis, they would never ever argue against your commission. So yes, a lot of people end up asking for the introduction for sure.
So what is the upside on this for you? You have a free book telling them how to do this for free. You don't take a fee. Do they make a contribution to a special interest?
Yeah.
Tell me about this business model. This is curious.
So this business model is only possible because of the success I've had as a real estate investor. And some of the investments I made in my younger years and in the life I have today. I don't really need a lot more money. I don't necessarily need any more money. I mean, anybody who's watching the stream can tell you I don't miss any meals. I have a great life. I'm so blessed with everything I've ever wanted. So I'm basically where I've wanted. I tell people jokingly, but not really. I'm actually who I wanted to be when I grow up. So I could tell you, I almost went down a really bad path. When I was a listing agent, I would run into, ma'am.
Tell me more.
Okay, sorry, my darn ears. I was at my last listing appointment. It's the last listing appointment I ever took. I was doing really well. So Liz and we partnered up, and it was great. We on average, our list to sold price ratio was 102.3%, which for those in the audience who don't understand that, we were actually getting above asking for most of our listings, and most of them were gone in the first weekend they hit the market. And this is in a climate locally where they were taking 80 days on average to sell, and they're getting about 89% list to sold price ratio. The only reason we did that, I'm not magic. I just followed the same script and blueprint that I established back in my startup days on how to establish scarcity and urgency around a product launch. I mean, it was like, so anyway, the last listing I went on, it was a beautiful retired couple. And I could tell the person who just left, they bought the listing. So this guy came in and he said their house was maybe worth, let's call it 400,000, Linda. I can't remember exactly, but I know it was right in that area. He told them, they said because this guy's social media influence and his photographer that takes drone photos, they could get me $450,000 for this house. And it broke my heart because I'm like, no, he can't. And I'm always going to be the guy who disappoints you with the truth and comforts you with a lie.
Right. Right.
And I knew they were already. So, and if I was in their shoes, I would want to believe that lie as well. Because why wouldn't you? And so the sad punchline to that joke is, of course, the house sat. They've got 6 months of carrying costs. They've got 6 months of opportunity costs. There's a stigma on that house now. So every buyer who wonders about that house, they say, well, why didn't it sell? It sat for 6 months.
It must be overpriced. And would they make that determination after it's been on the market for 30 days? Zillow's telling them, here's your Zestimate. This is, so there are a lot of issues with this. What did you do to help this family out?
Well, so there was nothing I could do. After a certain point, when they believed the illusion, there was no talking about it, because now instead of being helpful, I'm shattering their dreams. There was not much, but here's what I did on the drive home. I said to myself, I said, I can BS as good as anybody. I can lie to people. If I'm going to continue to stack up success in this business, if that's what I have to do, why not? I'm going to explore that. And I almost became violent. Like I immediately felt this revulsion from inside of me. And because how dare I, like with this beautiful life that I've been given by God, this amazing family, and I'm going to throw it away for a commission check. Like that temptation was so strong, and it was eerie. And I've lived a life now, and to bring this full circle back to what we started at the beginning, I know for a fact that one day I'm going to see those 6 guys again. And when they look at me, I want them to say, you know what, dude, good job.
Well
You
done.
gambled everything. You took every chance. You lived life to the fullest. You did most of the right thing. Of course, I'm not, I've done so many wrong, bad things, but doggone it. I use that as my measure, because what if you get there and they look at you and they say, so that's what we made the ultimate sacrifice for you to
That's
be
what
that
we
way,
did.
for you to be
Thanks
that
for
human.
wasting it, dude. Right?
That's it.
You have to live with yourself, for sure. You have spent a fair amount of time understanding human nature, and I think that and you're a young guy. You've got some very old ideas, farther back than the 70s, I might add. Tell me 2 things that you learned that were the most significant things that you learned from your experience in the military, and blend that with your experience as a dad and who you've become today.
So the first thing I'll say is I'm super glad this is being recorded, because I'm going to play for my girls that somebody called me a young guy. So that's incredible. So let me just get that out there right now.
Everybody's younger than me. Come on now, don't take it too
second
serious.
of all, I'm going to send you my optometrist, okay? Because we're going to get your. So that my 2 biggest things that I took away from the Marine Corps was, number 1, I went in there expecting to fail, because I had failed at everything in life. I was a loser. I couldn't ever succeed. I quit at everything I tried. They put me into an environment around the scariest, craziest individuals called drill instructors you'll ever meet in your life, and they would never give up on me. Not once. They always demanded more of me. When there was one more pull-up, I couldn't do another pull-up. They still wanted it. They demanded it. And somehow you'd find one. They demanded you run faster. They demanded you hit fat harder and shoot better. And like all of these things, they just demanded. It was constant. And I realized that's what I needed. I need to challenge myself every single day.
Somebody needs to kick you in the butt. I tell you to keep moving. Do one more rep. Right?
Yeah. Did you ever see that movie Whiplash with the drummer? There's a line in there that always stuck with me. He says, and it's kind of upsetting in one way, and it's kind of enlightening in another way, when he says the 2 most harmful words in the English language are "good job," because it's basically saying, okay, you can rest on your laurels.
That's
now.
right. You could take the rest of the day off.
Yeah. The second thing I learned from my experience in the military was, gosh, I've learned to start every day by starting saying, I know nothing. I am on a path that's destined, and I have very little control over where it goes. So all I can control is who I'm going to be on that path. When I lost people back then, I was arrogant enough to be mad at God. I was arrogant enough to think that I knew what was best. What a dumb thing for a 21-year-old kid to think, like I knew anything. Fast forward to my 2 lessons of being a dad. When the first time, I'll just November 11th, 2006, holding Allie, holding this baby, my whole world just melted around me. And it was the greatest thing I'd ever experienced. So having that, it really reminded me of, listen, you don't know anything. There are things about this life that I will never truly understand, but that I should appreciate and give thanks for every day. And the second thing that I've learned is it's just the most important thing ever. Being a dad it's the one thing that I will leave behind. It's a legacy. It's the one thing that won't rust. It won't be eaten by moths. If I could leave them a car behind, big deal. But by giving them values, by giving them love, and by giving them encouragement, that's something that will stay with all 4 of our girls for the rest of their lives.
That just gave me chills. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a powerful, powerful story. Tim, I can't even believe this. We actually went over our normal time, and that's our max time. So
oh gosh, I'm sorry.
I found this really interesting. You've held my attention, and I know that you have held the attention and especially the hearts of our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know you've got one more thing. I think I saw something about a quiz.
Yes. Yeah. If you go to foolprooffsbo.com/quiz, that's that 2-minute quiz I told you. We're just going to be honest with you and say, hey, we'd love to help you, but it's not going to be a good fit. We can see this writing on the wall. But if it is, hey, we welcome you into the community and we'll do everything we can to help you either way.
That's awesome. All right, go take that quiz. Grab your phone real quick. Here it is. Put it on camera and take a picture of that QR code that you see up on the screen. That is it. That's as simple as it gets. Thank you so much for joining us. And by the way, when those people realize that they're going to make 11% less, I think that's your sales pitch. Or you can call me. Don't forget.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Linda. It's such a pleasure to meet you and talk with you. And thanks for putting up with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, that's it. That's a wrap. And I think all of the buttons that I usually have for controls are all controlled by somebody else. So Karen, take us out. Season 3 of Money Talk isn't just about money. It's about recovery, resilience, and expansion, so you can build back better. Your house doesn't have to burn to the ground, but if your business or your life has, and you're ready to share your story, I want to talk to you. Contact me at LindaK360 or call me at 424-395-2885. Remember, your setback is a setup for a comeback. And I promise you'll inspire others to get back up one more time with your story.